Hello everybody, this is Steve once again from CELTAHelper.com, and this time I have another question to answer. This time is about the CELTA interview, which I know is a hot topic for many of you because it's quite a stressful experience and you all want to know exactly how it's going to go down and what you want, well, all the different things about it. Now, I had a question from Nishita who asked me the following. What do they mainly look for at the CELTA interview? Is it all about grammar? Now, I paraphrased her words a little bit, so I hope that's okay. But basically, let's have a look at this then in detail. Now, my interview, when I did it back in 2007, was actually a group interview. And I say group, there was only 2 of us. What it involved was sitting down with one of the trainers and talking about the task to start off. And the task had the various grammar exercises on it. And then we had to talk about our experiences and what our motivations were for the course and why we think we'd be a good fit, or maybe not exactly that. It was a long time ago, it's hard to remember exactly, but it was more or less, yeah, they were trying to sort of gauge whether we had the willingness and the ideas, the awareness really to get on the course. So I mean, it wasn't too intense for me, it wasn't bad. I think now many places have added a few more activities on, but it was okay. And it wasn't that formal because people are always asking, what do you have to wear at CELTA interviews? I just went as I'm in quite casual clothes, but the man with me wore a suit and I felt he was overdressed, so maybe somewhere in between. Now, as far as if you're not able to attend in person, the other type of CELTA interviews is on Skype, likely. And I didn't do this, but I've had a look around and spoken to people about it. And basically they said that their first part of the interview was getting to know them and having the experience chat and all that, and about what you want to do with a CELTA, why you're doing it. So very similar, and that could, these could all depend, right, on which centers you do it with, of course, as well, because they're going to be very different, or they could be quite different depending on where you go. And then the next part was grammar, and the answers in a few cases were typed into the chat box on Skype. So sorry, not the answers, the questions, I mean. So you had to respond, or the people who did it had to respond instantly in the chat messages, or spoken as well. So it was all, they couldn't prepare it. It wasn't based on the task as such. So they had to answer in real time. And there weren't any further tasks. And another one I heard about, actually in person, another CELTA interview, they actually had a long task in advance. Then they had to talk when they arrived about their experiences and their background and all the rest of it, their motivations, the standard stuff. Then they had to talk about some of the grammar exercises on the task. And they also had a free writing exercise. So I suppose that's to gauge the English language level, right? Now, this person was a native speaker, but I'm not sure why they give a free writing task. Yeah, but it's an interesting idea. So there's lots of different ways that the interview could go down, but the main thing is to remember that it's not all about grammar. It's as much about your motivation and your awareness as a teacher. So don't think you have to have that perfect grammar. Also, they are expecting you to be a novice in terms of grammar and teaching, so you don't need it to be perfect. Don't worry if you get something wrong. At least try to explain things. Just make sure you're giving clear explanations, because that is a huge help, because it shows then you've got the ability to be a teacher. And if you're a non-native speaker, it's not such a major concern, because, well, if you've given them your English language certificate or whatever beforehand, then that should, if you're at the right level, you're at the right level. Some people, and I know IH and British Council don't always ask for an IELTS certificate beforehand. Some people won't have this, but if you are, one of these people who doesn't fall into that category, but you have the high enough level, just going by instinct should be fine and should carry you through. And just remember, it's not about making mistakes. It's about explaining, and it's about how you come back for any mistakes you make as well, if you do, and just being yourself and giving them a true impression of who you are. So that's my thoughts on the CELTA interview. I hope that was clear. A little bit unclear in parts perhaps, but if you have any questions, just leave them below in the comments and I will get back to you. So talk to you soon, and thanks for listening.